Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank all of you so very much for joining us here this morning. We appreciate your patience with us postponing the ribbon cutting. We decided it would not be safe or practical to do so the morning after the storm, so thank you again for your patience with us. I want to take a moment to thank our sheriff and his deputies, for law enforcement at every level, for our first responders, our firefighters and EMTs, volunteers and professionals, for our emergency management, our county employees, our road crews, the power company crews, our volunteer citizens, and everyone who's worked tirelessly to help see our county through the aftermath of the storm. I also want to thank my fellow commissioners for their constant communication with each other and with emergency efforts, and for helping to ensure that certain critical decisions were made. I also ask you to keep in your prayers those who have been affected by the storms. Many of our friends and neighbors who have been impacted are going to need help and assistance in the coming weeks. So please reach out to them, to churches, to community groups, to volunteer organizations, and others to see how you might be able to help them. Now we're going to do our best to keep this moving and make this as quick as possible so everybody can get inside and explore. So we're joined this morning by some very special guests. I'd first like to recognize and thank my fellow commissioners, President of the Board, Commissioner Ed Rothstein, Vice President, Commissioner Kenny Kyler, Commissioner Tom Gordon, and although he was unable to be here today, Commissioner Mike Guerin. I'd also like to thank our previous Board of Commissioner member, Steve Wantz. I'd like to point out that we're joined this morning by Delegate Eric Boucher, and Taneytown Mayor Christopher Miller, and Taneytown Councilman Chris Tillman. Today we also have County Administrator Roberta Wyndham and Deputy Administrator Deb Effingham here with us. I also want to take a second to thank all of the staff involved for helping to arrange the ceremony today. Is there anybody that I've missed? So the decision in 2015 to close Charles Carroll Elementary was not easy. Charles Carroll had, for nearly a century, been a cornerstone part of this community, serving as a place not only of education, but gathering, sports, and other activities. It was a part of the very identity of the people who lived, worked, and attended school here, part of an unfolding story. Today, we begin a new chapter in that story with the opening of the Charles Carroll Community Center. That story reaches back to 1837, when the Carroll Academy and House of Public Worship was opened as the first school in the Silver Run and Union Mills area. That opening was forever intertwined with the very history of Carroll County herself, for that is the year in which our county was founded. A few generations later, in 1921, the Academy was followed by the opening of Charles Carroll, graduating the first class in 1926. World War I had ended only 8 years before that. Calvin Coolidge was president, the economy was booming, new technologies like radio and electricity were becoming widespread, and the American dream was soaring. Today, as we celebrate the opening of the Charles Carroll Community Center, America remains unrivaled in new technologies and in their use. Carroll County herself is strong, and the promise of the American dream still soars. Our best days, so long as we choose to pursue them, really do wait ahead for us. It is with that promise and that dream in this county that we are set to open this center. Who knows what dreams may grow within these walls that may one day guide the nation. Now, our sincere appreciation this morning goes to the families and the citizens of the Charles Carroll community whose input, suggestions, interest, participation, and kindness were vital in getting us here today. We also want to thank construction contractor North Point Builders and President Ken Wingate, who are also with us here today. We also want to thank Mimar Ponte Mellor Architects and Engineers, our civil engineering company KCI Technologies, and Ruling Associates for the geotechnical engineering aspects of the project. Without everybody involved, this wonderful new facility would not be possible. I would also be remiss if I did not thank all of the county departments and staff who worked countless hours across years to make this day a reality. We truly have an awesome staff and some amazing partners. Now I'd like to introduce one of those people, Brian Bokey, who is director of our Public Works Department, who will talk more about the project and give credit to some of those people. Brian?
Good morning, and thank you, Commissioner. I never thought I'd be the one speaking after Commissioner Vigliotti. There's been a lot of jokes up there, and I didn't think that day would be this soon. Again, my name is Brian Bokey. I'm the Director of Public Works for Carroll County. But welcome to the Charles County Community Center. And after the very traumatic week that our community has just faced, I'm thrilled to be part of this celebration today. As the new guy to the team, I'll keep it short and allow the others to share some of the history of this site and how we got to where we are today. But I did want to take a couple minutes to thank some folks that were involved in this project. First and foremost, our project manager for Public Works, Kurt Engel. For their dedication and commitment to this project, the entire building construction team and the Department of Public Works. Also, Land Resource Management for their assistance in the site development process and stormwater management approval. And finally, the group that we're going to be handing over the keys to today, the Department of Recreation and Parks, for their valuable input on the design. And just to close, in true millennial fashion, I found a hashtag that kind of stuck out to me recently. It's community over competition. I think this is a great example of a community that is strong and resilient, and I hope this building represents that community. Thank you.
I'd now like to introduce Carroll County Project Manager and member of the Silver Run Union Mills Community Group, Kirk Engel. Kirk?
Good morning, everyone. I said good morning, everyone. Good morning. There we go. There we go. Charles Carroll. Those two words mean a lot to many people in this community and surrounding communities. All places of construction have a history behind them. This site is no different. The first school in the Silver Run area, as mentioned, was the Carroll Academy and House of Public Worship in 1837. In 1921, the original Charles Carroll School was built. In 1928, a fire destroyed that building, and it was reconstructed. In 1973, the addition was constructed, making the building exclusively an elementary school. Through the years, the school served many families and staff until 2015, when unfortunately the school was identified to be closed. The demolition of the school in 2018 left a hole, not only figuratively, but within many hearts in this community. Through the efforts of the community and the former Board of Commissioners, it was decided to build a community center to help bring back that sense of community. I am listed as the project manager for this project, but this is not my project. This is Carroll County's project. So many people were involved in the success of this community center. Personally, I would like to thank the following. First, the contractor, North Point Builders. Thank you, Mr. Wingate, and your staff for providing such a nice facility. I want to thank all the county departments involved, my bureau's help and guidance during this project. Deputy Director Eric Burdine, John Barrows, our Bureau Chief, and Director of Public Works, Brian Bokey. Our administrative staff, who perform a lot of behind-the-scenes work, Stephanie Haynes, Sarah Nags, and Stacy Graham. Management teams, as mentioned, starting with the design team, Memar Architects and Engineers, the civil engineer, KCI Technologies. As you can see, this facility has a lot of stormwater management involved, so there was a lot of civil work that had to be done. I want to thank my wife, who acted as a sounding board at times when I came home frustrated and just needed someone to vent to. My father-in-law, who is here today, Ray Owings, who went to Charles Carroll in its last years as a high school. He has shared many memories with me. Our neighbors to the side, who is here today, Mr. Rao, Mr. and Mrs. Fritz. We always tried to be good neighbors during construction, and I think we did so. Also want to thank all the members of the community which attended our meetings that we had at various times at Pleasant Valley Fire Hall, and their liaison, Mr. Derek Ludlow. Finally, I do want to recognize former Commissioner Steve Wance. This was his district. He worked so hard to bring this project to the community. We all wanted to get it done before he left office, but time frames and chain delays didn't allow that to happen. But thank you for working with me, Mr. Wance, and the interactions we had. Projects have successes and failures, times where you need to pick up the pieces and move on. I experienced some of this within 2 to 3 years of design and construction, as I lost my dad, my middle brother, and recently my mom. I don't say this for sympathy in any way, but I had to pick up the pieces and move on. One of the things that allow you to do that is community. I hope this community center allows others to experience those successes and failures and thus move on to their next challenge in life. I want to end with a little joke. Hopefully he finds this funny. My mom asked me one day, who was overseeing the district? I said, Steve Wance. She said, really? Gosh, I worked with him when I was at the bank on Main Street. Let me see a picture of him. I showed her a picture of him, and she said, gosh, I knew him when he had hair. I said, well, Mom, he doesn't now, so. But today is a new chapter for Charles Carroll, and I want to thank you all for being here today. I truly do. It means a lot to me on a personal nature for different reasons. So now I'd like to introduce the president of North Point Builders, Mr. Ken Wingate.
Thank you, Kurt. I'm going to try to use the phone here today, go that route. So it's a rare opportunity for the builder to be able to talk at something like this, so I really appreciate this opportunity, and I'll try to be brief. Just like to thank the Carroll County Commissioners and Department of Public Works for selecting us to do this project, for all the surrounding families of this area. It's a really beautiful spot up here. As you know, life has many challenges, and it's how you deal with them that defines you or how your process will move forward. And therefore, I want to thank Eric and John and Kirk for being good team members and working together through our challenges to make this a successful project. It always has to be a team effort to be successful. I want to thank the design team for working through the many issues we faced and developing reasonable solutions we could apply to the construction process. It's always a process of getting through the little details of how things go together. I want to thank my assistant, Pippa. I thought she was here. I'm not sure she's here, who was my co-pilot on this one at the office. And Jeff Beaker was our superintendent on the job, and he's a local resident, not too far from here. I want to recognize just a few of our subcontractors: Bosley Excavation, Springdale Construction, Baldwin Mechanical, and Crown Electric, and there was many, many more. But all those guys worked very hard. And more importantly, I want to recognize all the tradespersons who use their brains and their skillful hands to create something of value from nothing other than a piece of paper with lines on it. They are to be congratulated, honored for creating what you're experiencing here today. Our industry needs more young men and women to learn a skill and provide a great living for their families. And finally, the North Point tagline is, we create remarkable spaces where life happens. And we believe this space fulfills that mission of our company to create such a space where that the community can enjoy and where at least a part of their life will happen. So I want to thank you. And now something that I've liked to do in the past is I'd like to present the keys to the building to the user. So that would be Parks and Rec. So there you go. Okay. Very good.
Now, at this time, I'd like to ask my predecessor and my friend, previous District 1 County Commissioner Steve Wance, to say a few words. Steve was centrally instrumental in pushing ahead with the community center, and so it's only fitting and appropriate that he be with us here to commemorate the occasion. Steve?
So I might cry a little bit here. After the week that we've been through, to see the blue skies here today is amazing. And thank you all for carving a little bit out of your Saturday to be here. Commissioner Bigliotti, Joe, my friend, said it well. Back in 2015, hard decisions were made. We were part of that. And when that occurred, I made it my mission to ensure that the whole that was created here would not always be here. And it's not, as you can see. And along the way, wow, did we have some challenges. Beyond the rhetoric, the hyperbole, all of that stuff that got thrown at myself and my colleagues, and I'm not going to get into all of it, but we, the community, kept pushing, and we made it. And this is a remarkable building, and it's a remarkable addition for this community that'll be here, not only for this community, but for everybody in Carroll, to be able to utilize such a fantastic building. I can't thank everybody, but I got to thank two people. Kirk, you and I spent a lot of tireless nights and phone calls, etc. You, my friend, are the shining example of having your heart and soul and your personal touch to making sure that this occurred. And I want to thank you. We also wanted to reach out to a community member to make sure that this thing kept flowing, to represent those folks. One voice, if you will, for the one voice of the community. And that was Derek Ludlow. And Derek, you did an amazing job as well. And we also spent a lot of time on the phone and a lot of time face to face here. So, look, I can't begin to thank everybody enough. This is an amazing end to what was a challenge, but a fantastic beginning to what's going to occur up here with all the amenities that are available in this building. So thank you all for being here. Thank you to my colleagues. Most of my colleagues supported me. A couple of them went, "You want to do what?" But most supported me as we continued to push through this. 2 sets, and I want to thank them all very much. So Godspeed to this building. Godspeed to everyone that uses this. And what a glorious day for the northern part of Carroll County. Round of applause for all of you folks, too.
At this point, I'd like to introduce Kathy Lowe, the president of the Charles Carroll Recreation Council, to say a few words. Kathy?
Good morning. I'm Kathy Lowe, president of the Charles Carroll Rec Council. We are so pleased to be a part of this happy event. This is the moment we've been waiting for, the start of the rebuilding of the Rec Council. Sports help children develop physical skills, get exercise, make friends, have fun. That's the most important part. Learn teamwork, learn to play fair, and to improve self-esteem. For over 60 years, the Charles Carroll Recreation Council has been providing this and more to this tight-knit, loving community. While we survived the closing of Charles Carroll, this community center gives us the opportunity to thrive and grow for the families of Union Mills and Silver Run. We want to thank the past Board of Commissioners and the project manager, Kirk Engel, for making this dream a reality. So please sign up your children and your grandchildren for our sports programs and enjoy every inch of this beautiful place. Thank you.
Last but not least, I want to introduce Lisa Carroll, the acting director of the Department of Recreation and Parks for Carroll County. Lisa?
Good morning, everybody. I know we've already heard a lot of thank yous, but I want to thank our elected officials for being here today. The Recreation and Park Advisory Board, I think we have some current and past members that are here today. The Charles Carroll Recreation Council, and I also want to give a special thank to everybody who was involved in making this building. It's a special place. And my dedicated staff that's here today, hopefully you'll have a chance to speak with them when they're inside today. But their energy, their time, and their efforts hopefully will make this a wonderful day for everybody to be here. I want to start by sharing a quote by John Scher. The future is not some place we are going to, but one we are creating. This beautiful building is an example of that. This beautiful state-of-the-art building was created to replace a building that was dear to many of you. It served the community for almost a century, like we already heard from Commissioner Vigliotti. This community center has a rich history, and it has a bright future. It represents that when we all come together, we can do amazing things. This community center and the outdoor spaces that the department calls Charles Carroll Park will be a place, as Kathy pointed out, for the Recreation Council to grow. It will be a place where families can come together, a place where the community can come together to learn, stay active, make lasting friendships, and most importantly, have fun. Connecting people, parks, and programs is what we do. I'm excited for this day. We were counting down the days. We could not wait for this day to come. I'm excited to hear the pickleball pinging in the gym. I'm excited to hear the buzz of the scoreboard, and I'm excited to hear the cheering of the fans in the gym. So I hope you will come inside today, take a look at this beautiful state-of-the-art facility. We do have activities planned today. Hopefully you're able to stay a little bit and enjoy them, and I am so excited for the future of the Charles Carroll Community Center. And it is now my pleasure. I'm going to turn it back over to Commissioner Vigliotti.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to cut the ribbon. I'd like all current and previous commissioners to please come up here. I'd like all of our speakers to come up here as well. And if you've had any kind of a hand in this whatsoever, Eric, all you guys, come on up. Ready? 1, 2, 3.